I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And if we can get an adoption of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda for February 15th, 2022 as submitted.
Microphone's not on.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that takes us into our recognitions and proclamations. Anybody have anything this particular meeting for recognitions?
Yes.
Yes.
I would just like to recognize Valerie and Lynn and Debbie and all those who participated in the 4 spelling bees that have been going on. We had the honor of being the regional. We did the regionals, and all went well. And so, just wanted to say thank you.
Did they know that you got a picture in there? I saw you.
I heard about it. I was there.
I know. That was proof.
I wasn't talking about myself. I was talking about everybody else.
I know it.
Oh,
All right, thank you.
and wait, there's more.
More.
I wanted to congratulate, I think her name is it Decon and Mason, for qualifying for state. And a little shout out to our girls basketball and wrestling.
That's good stuff.
And
Who qualified for state? What sport was that?
it was wrestling, I believe. Was it?
Yeah.
Wrestling, there, yeah, there's, we definitely,
Yeah,
yes.
it was wrestling.
You're talking about our female seniors.
Oh,
State wrestling.
Yes.
there's some boys too.
And also for the 2 that came in 3rd and 4th in the poetry. And I'm done.
Very good. Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Oh, she covered mine.
Okay.
I wanted to, again, I think I did this last month, I maybe do it 2 months in a row. But I want to recognize all of our teachers and staff and just the, responding to all of the, pulling from every direction and filling slots and, making do with what they have to, to keep holding classes in some of this time. So they're working really hard.
Well, thanks for saying that, Ron. And you did say it last month, and I think we should say it every month, actually.
Thank you.
And we do have a great team, so very happy for that. Anybody else? Dr. Remendini?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Malio. In addition to congratulating our Wickenburg Wrangler girls basketball team advancing to the state finals, I don't understand how that works, but I know they have a lot of games to play to get there, and they're in Sholo today, I think. And the 9 Wrangler wrestlers, one of them was a female that qualified for state. So in addition to that, I also want to recognize Hacienda Elementary School and our high school soccer teams for their participation in the Gold Rush Parade. This was my first Gold Rush Parade as my first Gold Rush as a resident of Wickenburg, and it was just wonderful to see the kids out there and supporting in that soccer team float, and they had so much fun. People could hear them coming from miles around because they were kicking soccer balls. So it was a lot of fun. I also want to do a special shout out to Mr. Juan Jimenez and all the clubs who sponsored the various parking lots in the area. That was a lot of work, and our kids stepped up. And I know we had some boosters and some other parent supporters helping raise funds to support all of our schools. And then I have one final shout out that I'd like to give, and this is on behalf of the Wickenburg High School Athletic Director, Matt Johnson. So he sent this to me, and the entire Wickenburg Unified School District want to express our sincere gratitude to a number of people for their efforts on the Wickenburg High School softball outfield fence. I don't know if you guys know, we got a big upgrade out there. Keith Peterson, from start to finish, Keith was there for it all. Josh Anderson of Southwest Equipment did a lot of the groundwork to prepare for the new warming track, and I don't even know what a new warming track is, but a warning track.
Warning track.
Oh, wow.
Edge.
Can you rewind that?
Do you know what a warning track is?
I do know
Okay.
what a warning track is, so that's good, because I'm like, I don't know what
I
you
don't
mean
know
a
what a
warning
warning
track
track
is.
Warning
is.
track is where the pictures hang out.
Arizona. I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson of Southwest Equipment preparing the warning track. Thank you. And George Diller assisted with moving the dirt. Chris Preble and Trey Samsil of CP Welding and Fabrication did the setting the poles and installing the fence. So without these services, the upgrade would not have been possible. And Wickenburg Athletics is very grateful for that upgrade. So
Good. And we are
I
very
believe
thankful.
the home run fence was not at the proper footage.
that's why they did it. It
Yes.
was not in the right place, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of nice to have it at the right distance. So.
All right, so that's everybody? Okay, we'll go on to our principal reports, and up first, we have Mr. Mark Gorman from the Wickenburg High School, and who wants to start off today? Randy, would you like to?
Sure. Okay, very good report there as usual, Mark. I was really impressed with some of the detail you had on some of the various groups and things that are going on. I like seeing that the PE is just no longer just PE. They got a little bit of education classes in there for that. That's good. And yeah, just give that. The sports medicine, the competition for that. JAG, I thought that was good that they've taken on that No Place for Hate, and then getting involved with the career development conference. One thing that was good was the turnout that we had for the freshman, future freshman night. That number just astonished me. I was amazed with 220
20.
kids. Wow. A good report on the professional development progress. That was really good. And you know, everything you have on the No Place for Hate, Stand Up, Speak Up, Save, they just sound like really good, strong organizations you got working there. And I hope we can really encourage those kids on that, because there's just too much, you know, hate and violence and stuff like that in the schools. I hope it really can get instilled in these kids out there today. So, very good report, Mark.
Thank you. I want to thank, again, all of the groups that helped to bring all the information into the report, because without them, it's tough to come up with that much stuff. So I appreciate all they're doing.
Oh, I thought you did all this.
Yeah.
Sandy?
Well, I think my buddy over here covered most of it. There was one thing, you invited us today to the debate on Lizzie Borden, but you didn't tell us what time.
Oh, I didn't. Well, it was a third and fifth period. I did go today, so I went by there and represented. So
Oh, good. It's
yeah,
like-
she was doing a little debate with her class, and they split up and had roles. They had researched and so I apologize. I should have been more specific.
Yeah,
At
it's
the
like,
time, it could have been.
didn't
Hopefully
say.
do it again because it was fun, and
Yeah.
maybe at that point we can invite you with the actual time.
Yes, and maybe where exactly, and, a little bit more detail.
More details for you.
Because we do like to go to things, but you kind of left us hanging there. And the other thing, and he brought part of it up, and I don't have down. In the JAG, do we still have a number of kids that are participating in it?
We have 40 that they're counting us, or 41 that they're counting us participating in it. There were some that moved over to WVA at semester, and we're allowed to continue to work with those kids and count them. So he follows up with them and does check-ins with them, sort of like what a JAG coordinator would do with the kids that move on after graduation.
Right.
He's able to do that same thing this year with them because of the way things are working out just as a.
Do we know how
as a
many?
country, so. I'm sorry?
Do we know how many moved over to WVA?
I want to say there are around 9 or so that he's working with remotely.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'd have to double check on that, but when I was in the other day looking at his, and we were going through counting them, that's what I recall was right around 9-ish.
I was,
And they may not all be actually in WVA. So some, I'm going to use an example, some had schedule changes because we're running intervention this semester. So if a student fell into that and could not attend a JAG class, which fell during 2 of the interventions that we're having are during that time, and were pulled, he's able to continue to monitor those too. So just because they're not in doesn't mean they're all WVA, I should clarify.
okay. Well, it sounds like we had a good turnout then for our first year.
Yeah, I think it's off. It's there. We ran into some hurdles. There's no doubt about it. There's some things that we're still trying to navigate with it, but I do still believe we have the right person in charge of that, and excited about developing that program. And now we're at a point where, as we start to move towards scheduling for next year, this week he started really hitting the pavement to not just keep the kids that he has, but recruit the right kids to be a part of that for next year. So.
Great.
The work between now and March is to really hone in on who are those kids that we feel need to be in that program.
Great. I just hope it's a complete success. And I was looking at the different programs, and I think this is through the Stand Up, Speak Up, Save a Life and everything. The different things that are available to the kids, the different helplines and all this stuff. And I certainly hope kids will use those and we don't lose any more kids.
Yeah. Since Stand Up, Speak Up has been online for the last 2 years, there's been a little bit of a struggle with kids getting engaged with that. And so this year, it was decided that we would roll some activities out to all kids across campus and use a day to plug those activities into every class. And there was something that everyone did first period, something everyone did second period, and so on throughout the day, and had an opportunity to jump into some different classes, and it stretches teachers a bit because it gets them outside of their comfort zone somewhat in some cases, but I thought they did an amazing job.
Good.
And it was
Good.
something quick, 10 to 15 minutes, and but really helped them to, again, get information and have conversation and just at least bring awareness to it.
Great. I just thought that was great. Okay, I'll leave something for you, hopefully, Susan.
Oh, yeah. I just had a question about the student counts in general, and I know that, the numbers we're not quite sure about, but it looks like we're down 30 at the high school. And I know some of those may have gone over to WVA, and there may be some concurrent students there. But do you know how many dropouts we have had from the high school?
I don't have an accurate count to give you as to how many have dropped out. There were some that were dropped due to attendance. Once we hit a 10-day count, students that have stopped attending do get dropped. And we had some at semester that were dropped. They may have been recovered in various programs like WVA picking up some. Grad Solutions is another one that our counselors will route them through if they're, we have some that are juniors and seniors and have 3 or 5 credits and are well off track to graduate. And in that sort of case, to get them to find that success, there are some different options that are out there, and some of those kids get then routed through those various programs. Some of them we completely lose track of. They move off and parents move and we don't hear anything from them.
Yeah, can we find out how many? I would just like to know, and then really what the programs are that we're doing, because I know in the past it's been a big thing to try to save them, to try to, every kid, every student is a graduate, right? So I would love to know what you guys are doing to really try to prevent it, because I know a lot of kids, in the past they would go get jobs because they had to work, and so then I know there would be special programming or we'd go out, the counselors would go out and talk to them and try to at least come up with a solution with Rose to help them to complete it. So, yeah, that'd be great if you could figure that out. I don't have anything else. I think, I did want to say, I think all of the counseling programs are great, and I think that we're doing a lot there to try to, you know, prevent this from happening. But yeah, it'd be good to know.
If I may, I just would add and remind everyone that in Arizona, kids can drop out at 16, and we can't track them down, and parents can move, and there is no statewide tracking system where a student goes. So a student could leave us and actually enroll in another school that may or may not request transcripts from us, and we have to count them as a dropout, and they may not have dropped out, or they may have gone someplace else. So it's a little bit challenging, but you're right, 30 kids since November is about the difference. So got to figure out where they are.
Oh, and I wanted to say, I didn't know about the drive-in movie. Was it put out there in other places?
I didn't do that.
Yeah, I didn't even hear about it till the thing. Do you know, like, was it online or anything? I didn't see anything about it.
It often gets posted on their Facebook page, or so it depends on. I know this last one was sort of backed up to one that they did earlier in the month, and it was a real quick turnaround, and so it's possible that one.
Oh, I
was
didn't
not
hear about that one
advertised
either.
out as
Was there one
quickly,
earlier?
So they did two really fast back to back here in February.
Well, I want to know if they do another one because the kids would love it.
I don't. I knew about it from something. I don't know
Oh.
what it was, but
Online?
at least one of them.
All right.
Oh.
It was
Posted
probably
all
Lynn's
over our
calendar
halls.
last month, and
There you
I-
go.
Posters all over, so say when
Movie night.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, it's
Moving
on,
on.
it's on here, but it says movie night last night.
Yeah, it was.
Are you guys done?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say, I like the detail that you put in each department, and it breaks, so you can kind of get a breakdown of the visual of the school and, and the department wise and how it's, what they're doing and everything. I like that much detail. On the freshman night, they turned 20. Was that all students, the 220?
that was not all students. Those were that was the count for who was there.
Okay,
So that was parents and
Alright.
students.
okay, all right.
And so in
Yeah,
some
I was
cases there were just students, and in some cases there were
Parents,
Parents
one
with-
student and two parents.
yeah there were some
Okay.
in that case.
All right, thank you. The ACT, that you said they were preparing for the ACT and the ACT Aspire test. Is that the standard ACT, or is that a different type of ACT?
At that most recent conversation I've had, the most recent says that it is the same ACT test that others will be taking. It counts for college entrance, just like.
Okay, so it's a
like
standard,
in the
yeah,
past.
ACT, SAT, that.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, then, when do you get like the report that says, okay, we were in the 75 percentile or whatever the number is? Will you get that type of report back from it?
We will get data back from that because that's what we're using for all of our end
Okay.
of year assessment. So we'll get something similar, I'm imagining, to what we get with or did get with AZM2, before that AZ Merit and Ames. And we'll get some kind of a report that will do not just an individual report that parents would get, but a
Right.
summary of how we've done across the board. Yes.
Okay,
It definitely will not be aligned identically to what we've done in the past with AZM2, because of what is getting tested. But
right.
so we'll be comparing apples to oranges a bit on that.
Yeah, but
we'll be able to
just
see
as
how we
a,
compare.
but it'd just be a comparison of where we, the percentile would give us a comparison of where we stand with others in that.
Other schools.
And stuff in that category.
Correct.
When is that?
The test windows are in April. There's one, maybe around the 7th or the 14th, somewhere like that, and then one a little bit later in April.
Okay.
So they're 1 week windows, and based on everything I've heard so far, it's a 1-day test. So kids will come in and take the different subtests all the same day. So
Okay.
in the past we've taken 2 LE, or well, might have been more than 2, but there were several for there were 2 reading, 2 writing, or 2 math, and so there were 6 different tests spread out, and now that will just be one day test.
Okay, okay. So it should know something May, June, I guess.
I haven't heard what their
Somewhere.
turnaround time is.
Yeah, yeah, probably a couple of months, I imagine, but,
But we will definitely get a report to everyone, district and
Okay.
the board members here that kind of summarize
Okay.
how things work.
good, thank you.
Well, Mark, I loved your report. I really like your pictures. Except one is quite old, but anyway.
I should just do nothing but pictures.
Just for me, just for me. The picture tells me everything.
Current picture.
Yeah, current ones. Well, most of these are. There's only one that is.
There's one there that is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
You're,
Well,
you're good to pick up on that, though.
Well, actually, we had a meeting about that before you got here.
Oh, you did? Okay. You noticed somebody in that picture?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And I was doing one of these numbers at home. I was going, it looks like her, but she's been gone.
It is.
Yeah, I found that out. No, but my colleagues have identified all of the strengths and weaknesses. Not many weaknesses, though. So, great job. I appreciate it, Mark.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate and I appreciate feedback from everyone. We will, it's continuously working toward improving on it. So I appreciate the feedback, and we'll work on getting answers to those that you asked here today that we didn't have answers for.
Thank you, sir.
Can I double dip?
Sure.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I did have one question. That was the, I like the write-up on the law-related education thing with Joe. And it mentions that, they have 6 school safety program law-related educational universal hours. What is that? Is that a credit or something that any?
Yeah, there's 2 different types of hours that the school resource officer has to complete. Some are universal hours, and they might be single lessons that he can deliver in a class. He just, somebody requests that he comes in and talks about the Declaration of Independence. So he could walk in and have a lesson prepped and go in there and talk to that class, or talk to each class that day. And those are counted as universal, just those kind of one and done type events. Then he has to also log what are called cohort hours, and he has to do 6 1-hour or 6 different sessions with a specific group to count them as cohort hours. And so that's the distinguishment between the two. That's time that he's in a classroom.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, actually, because I had that question.
All good? All right. Okay, we move on to Ms. Rose Garcia and Wickenburg Virtual Academy. And how about if we start on this side so Randy doesn't take everybody's ideas?
Okay. Well, I was interested in the part in here about the work towards the accreditation that you mentioned in there, and all the work that's going into that. I know you've been doing that well, you were working on that before COVID came, and then it kind of slowed things down.
Yes, it did.
The May dates you listed in here, will that be the final review
Yes,
date, time
yes.
for it?
That-
Okay,
That is, it's, they first do a readiness review, which was the January 20th one, and then we'll have the May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, where they come and, observe, look at lots of things, but interview teachers, students, I'll have different panels for them to meet with and so on. And
Okay.
so, yeah, it'll be a 3-day one then.
and that's,
That is the final thing.
that is the final. Okay,
Mhm.
good, thank you. Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I have, question-wise. I like, the report write-up, and that you've keep gaining students, seems like. Lose a few, gain a few extras, and I was really interested that the total number there was a lot more than I realized that was actually in the virtual academy. 157, that's pretty good.
Well, our biggest gain was with the high school students. So I feel like as we're talking about where did those high school students go. If you look, at the time I wrote this report, I had gained 21 high school students. And I mean, there were a couple that had moved here, new to the area. Most of them were from the high school. And I'll be honest, some of the things I would hear was, well, everybody in the family got sick over Christmas, COVID, this one had it, then this one had it, then anyway. So I think families still went through quite a hard time through December, January, and I feel like that's what we still saw was some people moving over. In my elementary, if you notice, the numbers were pretty much the same then. I had a 7th, 8th grader that moved back to brick and mortar school, and I'd only had them one term. And I had a younger, 2 students, same family again, that moved over. Most of them, I will say, have been from last year. You have an avid, I think, clientele of parents that love doing the online, and they're very good at it, and they are diligently working with their students. So we haven't had a lot of fluctuation. They either picked online or they didn't, which I appreciate, because that's really hard doing the back forth. It's just not an easy thing to do, to match things. So that is where we are at with this. And we have actually, even in the last 2 weeks, picked up a few more high school students switching over. So that tends to still be our biggest area.
Are those full-time students? that
They
you're
are
talking about?
full-time, yes. We've also picked up a lot of concurrent, meaning that they are especially students, if they have failed something and maybe they're just a junior, but they don't want to be behind, they're signing up to take something in addition to their full-time schedule. And we love that because, it's in district. You can see them doing it. You know that they're making up the things they need. Same thing with seniors. We work really close together with the counselors from the high school as we watch those seniors. Because again, if they failed something, we can still step in and say, okay, all right, so we're going to give you this class, and then you've got to hang on to your full-time schedule still at the high school, and we can do it. So we do partner really close with counseling. By this time on, it is something where we just team together and constantly check the status of where our kids are. Again, you probably see most of our students are seniors. So, especially, the concurrent ones.
Right. Okay.
But it is nice. I mean, in the district that we have something where we can see it happening and we don't just wonder, because years ago, you'd hear someone was taking correspondence, but you had no idea if it was really happening. So it is nice that we can partner like that.
Good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Susan?
Yeah, I had a question for the West MEC applicants. Do we have any at the high school?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
They're never usually more than about 9 or 10, but we are eagerly waiting. It was a new process this year, and I'll be honest. Julie Macias worked really hard on it. She's the one that actually processes the rubrics and uploads the transcripts and does that part for me. And then I just send on the applications. But, we had students apply, and we really won't know till sometime in March. It's very competitive, so that is hard. And it is why it's so important that students made that priority deadline of February 1st, because otherwise, once we pass that deadline, it's hard because they allocate. And from then on, until then, I can sometimes contend and say, wait a minute, we should have one for our district at Northwest facility for blah, blah, blah. But if they miss that deadline, those spots go to any district then. And it's just whoever has the highest rubric beats kids out. So
wow.
That's why it's so important to make those deadlines. But yes, most of the applications were high school. I just mentioned that we did have some virtual that we're applying.
Well, and I have a question because I know someone that was at the Christian Academy who was going to apply to WestMec. Does that still go through us, or do they do that separately?
No, I think they have to. I've had someone be at a private school even, and they came to our district last year because they had to be in a school district that was a member of WestMec. So I have not heard of them being able to do
So I
that,
wonder-
but I mean, it would
okay.
be a question we
Yeah.
could ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is this your last one, or are we going to get another one? from
For
you
the
this
board
year?
reports?
Yeah. Do we get another one?
Yeah,
from
we
her this year? Okay, good. So then I don't have to cry yet. All right. Thanks, Rose.
No, that's fine.
You're
Thank you.
great. I'm done.
Sandy?
I don't really have anything. I think pretty much everything's been covered. And I don't really think I have anything to say.
Well, Randy might.
Mike, let's see. I thought that was good that we recognized some of the students from the virtual academy that had attended or competed in the cowboy poetry and stuff like that. That was great. One question I had, just seeing the number of elementary or K through 5 students that we have in the WVA, is that I want to say, what percentage of maybe that is kids that are attending because of COVID-related concerns from their parents or things like that?
I would have to say an awful lot of them are. The parents just feel more comfortable with it, and if they're diligent with it, I mean, I will say some of them quickly last year kind of threw up their hands and went, oh my gosh, this is way more work than I thought, because they really do work with their student. They are the learning coach, and they have to work with their student every week. They have teachers that are assigned that will work with them and even do a meeting with that parent, but you know, it's a lot. So yes, I would say that's probably the biggest percentage that are still doing it is the ones who are not comfortable yet with sending them back.
Yeah, that was I kind of have a two-part on that too, and that was the difficulty of the learning for these students, you know, and I guess it's a lot on the parents to make sure that they're gonna.
It really is. I mean, we offer assistance and we offer and tell them, I mean, you can even come into our lab and we'll help you see how to upload assignments or, you know, there's a lot of stuff that sometimes they'll struggle with at first. Most of them are pretty savvy though, and they just do it and they do it well. So that has been nice to watch.
And what was that? I mean, even kindergarten kids, 3 of them? Wow.
It's true, and it is why we actually have, there are 4 workbooks each semester that get mailed out from Edgenuity. We actually type in the parents' addresses, they get mailed out to the parents, because especially those younger grades, those workbooks are much thicker than the older grades, because the student isn't on the computer all the time. They just aren't. It'll have some lessons, and then they do workbook pages and they upload.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Rose.
Sure.
Well, I'll just, I'll drive it home with echoing with what Randy touched on with the cowboy poetry. I see we have a senior that's placed, and she's placed before.
Mm-hmm.
So proud of her. And I'm also proud of me. I got my hours turned in for my child.
Yay.
I only had 3 people chasing me for him, so anyway. So I really appreciate everything you do, Rose, and I know that in the upcoming weeks and month, we're going to see your numbers grow some more, because that's just what happens this time of year for you
It is true.
with the high school recovering and all that stuff. So, but great report. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, so we will move on to item 3, which is call to the public. And as we can all see, there's not anybody sitting in those chairs, so we can bypass that one. And we'll go to consent agenda. Does any board member need anything pulled from the consent agenda before we take action? Hearing none, we can entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items for February 15th, 2022 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And item 5 is the action items that we have for this evening. And the first one is our request for approval of the financial reports presented by Ms. Erin Johnson, Executive Director of Business Services. Ms. Johnson, you're up.
Good evening. So you have the report in front of you. Once again, we're trending very well. Expenditures have increased just a little bit, over previous month, which is to be expected. We started with that increase in pay starting in January. So as I anticipated, we'd see a little bit of a jump in our M&O expenditures just for salaries because of minimum wage and also revising our placement guide. But we're still trending very well. We're a little bit under where we would think we would be at this point. So our budget balances are positive. We are in compliance, and there's no surprises to the best of my knowledge.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions of Erin or comments? Oh, I hear crickets. How about a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5B, action item, request approval of the Arizona Community Foundation to manage Wickenburg Unified School District scholarship funds. Would you like to speak on this?
I would just like to draw attention to the fact that we had a presentation from ACF last month, and now we're to the point where we've kind of worked out the details and ready for the governing board's consideration for moving this. And you'll see on the attachment that it's approximately $196,000 that we will be moving to the Arizona Community Foundation to help us manage and earn interest and grow the Betty Vogt Trust so that we can provide scholarships to our students. So,
Very good.
Will we do one this year?
yes, we will do one this year. It is, just on that note, I will meet with Mark and his team and the high school counselors and the members of the Betty Vogt Scholarship Committee next week to kind of talk about it, because the way this is written, we will give one scholarship this year, giving time for the scholarship fund to earn up to $200,000. Then we'll start giving scholarships up to that $200,000 limit. So this may, depending on the market, does be the last year we only give one scholarship, because this is estimated to earn enough money to give more than one scholarship, which would make Betty Vogt very happy. So
And how much will they be?
$5,000.
Okay.
The first scholarship we will never give a scholarship unless we can give one $5,000 scholarship. Then we will give additional scholarships in increments of $2,500 or $5,000 up to that endowed portion
Okay.
of $200,000 minus the fees that we pay, the 1%
Okay.
fees.
Anybody have questions? Anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Arizona Community Foundation to manage Wickenburg Unified School District scholarship funds, to include the transfer of funds from the Betty Vogt Scholarship Trust and any other action required by ACF.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And our last action item is item C, request for approval of rescheduling the March governing board meeting date. And you've all seen the little attachment. Does that sound okay for everybody?
On a motion.
Please.
Okay. I move to approve rescheduling the March governing board meeting date from March 8th, 2022 to March 10th, 2022.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Item 6 is, let's see, we've got items for future agendas. Excuse me. Anybody have anything to add for that section? How about if we look at our calendar then for announcements and upcoming events? Oh, we've got a movie night last night. Oh, we covered that already, never mind. All right, how about the final piece to this night? Item 7.
Sandy?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion does carry. Adjourned at
One of these days, I'm
6:12.
gonna oppose any